We already heard from some of the inhabitants from Nahal about the day that happened where they were inside the shelter. You know the family. What was it like being outside, involved in the fighting?
Well, first of all, it was my duty. I was the second in command in Nahal, and on October 7 at 7:30, 7:15 a.m., I was already in command because Ilan Fiorentino, that was the first in command, died. He was killed by the militants, and effectively I became the commander of Nahal Oz. So it was my duty to fight.
But you were happy to have you there, right? Because it was not planned.
It was not planned, but I was in this position for 7 years as a deputy for Ilan. So we were together for 7 years in duty, and whenever there were clashes with the Gaza Strip, we were effectively in our job.
How was it like before when you talk about clashes?
Usually it was just rockets shooting from the Gaza Strip into the surrounding area and into the kibbutz.
No infiltrations?
No, not at all.
Would you ever imagine that that could happen?
No. It was the worst case scenario, but it wasn't realistic.
So there were no drills for such a scenario?
There were drills, but we were not supposed to be encounter with so many Hamas militants that are coming. The worst case scenario was talking about the one platoon of Hamas that coming into the kibbutz. The kibbutz first responders were supposed to be inactive for at least 15-20 minutes, and then the big army was supposed to come and deal with it.
Do you remember the first moment you saw one of the fighters?
I remember the first moment I saw the fighters, yeah.
What was it like?
It was hard because I already knew that they are inside the kibbutz from the moment before I went outside from my house. I already know that there are militants inside the kibbutz and there are gunfires inside the kibbutz. So when I left my house, I already knew that. The thing is that Ilan, that was killed, the last phone call that I had with him, he told me to not come to his neighborhood because there were gunfights. So I went to the front gate of the kibbutz and I waited there and I tried to call Ilan and he didn't answer the phone. And by that moment I already realized that Ilan was killed. And I realized that I'm pretty much alone fighting for the kibbutz now.
And you helped save many lives. That was your yeah.
I did save a lot of lives, but still we had 15 guys from the kibbutz that were murdered inside the kibbutz that morning. There were people that were kidnapped to the Gaza Strip. Most of them are back from the Gaza Strip, but one of them is still there, Omri Miran. And I know that I saved a lot of people that day, but still I'm feeling responsible for the ones that didn't survive. Because it was my duty to protect them.
You've met people from Gaza before, for October the 7th.
Yeah, actually, as a kibbutz, as an ideology, we provided work for people from the Gaza Strip that had permits to come to work in Israel. We, as an ideology, we used to give them work because we thought that if they'll have money, if they'll have livelihood, they won't hate us so much and they won't need to go to Hamas to get money. And we thought that that would make the peace process easier. But unfortunately, on October 7, that was one of the hardest things for me, because I raised my kids to believe that there are kids that were born less than a kilometer from them, and they are less fortunate than them, because they were born on the other side of the border, and they have Hamas, and they have an oppressor that is taking advantage of them. And on October 7, the hardest thing for me was actually not fighting with the militants, because that was my job, and I presume that that was their job. But there were hundreds of civilians from the Gaza Strip that went into the kibbutz and helped the murdering and helped the kidnapped, and were looting houses inside the kibbutz. And I saw kids, my kids' age, celebrating on that day that they managed to conquer Nahal.
So would you say you were naive before that?
I grew up in a house. My father grew up in Haifa, which is a mixed city, Arabs and Jews. I grew up in a house that always talked about people are people. It doesn't matter if you're an Arab, if you're a Jewish, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian. It doesn't really matter. A person is a person, and you have to evaluate a person by who he is. And it's not naive, but I wanted to believe that that most of the people in the Gaza Strip are not against Israel. Most of the people doesn't want war. But today I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure, because I've seen them. I've seen civilians coming into the kibbutz.
What was their eyes like? What were they shouting?
They were ecstatic. They were like mad. You could see their eyes like looking for someone to grab him, to murder, to loot. I've seen the worst kind of things that you can see in somebody's eyes on that day. Hate. I've seen hate. Hate as deep as you can, and even if you can't imagine it, as deep as that.
And now you witness the reaction of the world, also, of course, towards the military operations in Gaza, the Israeli operation. Telling you honestly, we talked about it earlier today. In Europe, hardly anyone is talking about hostages on the 7th of October anymore. It's all about Gaza. What does that make to you?
I think that I'm currently not living in my house, because I can't go back to my house, because it's still a war zone, and I'm not up to it right now. I'm still in treatment after October 7. I was diagnosed with PTSD, and I'm still on a process. So I cannot go back to my house in Nahal, but I would never be able to go back to my house if I'll know that Hamas is over the border. Because if they'll stay behind the borders, it's only a matter of time till they gather enough weapons, and they'll do it all over again.
But you've also been to Austria yourself. When was it, last year? No.
Last month.
Last month?
Yeah.
Last month.
We've been in the Czech Republic, in Austria, and in Germany.
And you encountered something revolting, so to say.
It was one incident, but it was very hard for me, coming from a place of that. We were the victims of October 7. We were the direct victims of October 7. And somebody who tells us that we cannot stay at a place because we're Israelis was so offending.
Can you give the details again? What happened?
We rented an RV and we went to a campsite for the night, and the guy was really nice about it, and we showed us the place and everything, and then he asked my wife to come into the office and make signatures and all the stuff, and she went in and she took out the Israeli passport. As soon as he saw the Israeli passport, he said, no Israelis here. And my wife was so naive, she thought that he has like encounter with bad Israelis that made a mess over there. So she asked him, why? It's only the two of us. We're not... said, no Israelis here. I'm not allowing any Israelis here. And it was very offending because we were the victims of October 7. This trip was it was for a 25 years anniversary, me and my wife, marriage. And it was like a healing trip that we rented an RV and we went around in the Czech Republic, in Germany, in Austria. It was beautiful. The landscape is beautiful. It was like a healing trip for me. And it was very hard.
How do you explain that some people think that way? I mean, he was not he didn't have a Muslim background, I think. He was a...
It was not a Muslim background, but it doesn't matter. I think that people are watching news and watching whatever there is on the news and thinking that whatever they watch on TV is the absolute truth. It's not. There are two sides to any war, and it's not that absolute. I don't think that the war 2 years from October 7, almost 2 years now, I don't think that the war should have lasted 2 years. But I know why this war broke up, and we didn't started this war. We need to finish it.
Who keeps it running?
Well, I'm not going into politics, so politicians are doing whatever they do, and I'm pretty sure that they are doing whatever they think that is right for us. But I think that this war was supposed to be ended long ago, and all the hostages were supposed to be home. And I know that there's no... It's not like there is a similarity between the Israeli side and the Palestinian side. Because even when I look at Palestinians, Hamas does not represent them. Hamas is an extremist, militant organization that written on his flag the annihilation of Israeli state. And there was never a hope for peace with Hamas. I still want to believe that at some point we will live with Arabs on this piece of land. At some point we'll have to find out a way to live with each other or beside each other, but it should be a solution, because we do not want to send our children to the army and die all the time in wars.
You just said you're still in treatment. What pictures come up?
I have a lot of flashbacks from that day, from fighting, from bodies that I've seen, from sights that I don't want to remember, and that are coming at night, at nightmares, and I still have flashbacks during the day sometimes. And it's very hard. It's a very, very, very realistic thing for me now, today, as it was on October 7, because my brain still didn't process what I've seen on that day. I was not ready for that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.